During this lesson, we are going to work on surface area and volume. The space which this cube occupies is called its volume. The space occupied by this cube is written 1 centimeter cubed because it is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Question 1. Write down the volume of each object by counting the 1 centimeter cubed blocks. Press pause to do so. Question 2. Calculate the volume of each of the following objects. For A, we have a 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter by 1 centimeter rectangular prism. Therefore, 2 times 2 times 1 gives us a total of 4 centimeters cubed. Press pause to complete the rest of question 2 by yourself. Our formulas. The formula for the volume of any cube is its length times its length times its length, or length cubed written in exponential form. The formula for the volume of any rectangular prism is its length times its breadth times its height. This is exactly the same as the area of its base because its length times its breadth is its base, and then we still multiply by its height. Press pause to complete question 3 by yourself. Worksheet 2. Calculate the volume of each of the following objects. Write down the formula first. Let's do A together, so get out your pen. The volume for a rectangular prism is its length times its breadth times its height, which in this case is 3 times 3, which is 9, times 1 stays 9 centimeters cubed. Press pause to complete question B and C by yourself. Let's look at E together. The volume of a rectangular prism is equal to its length times its breadth times its height. In this case, it's 6 times 3, which is 18. Then we still need to multiply by its height, which is 4. So we do a multiplication sum on the side to give us a final answer of 72 centimeters cubed. Press pause to complete question D and F by yourself. Let's continue. Let's do H together. The formula is its length times its breadth times its height. Now we have a decimal fraction there. But the easiest way to do this is we see that 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 1, 5, or 1, 5 times 10 is a very easy sum to do. It's simply 15. So the answer is 15 centimeters cubed. Press pause to complete the remaining questions by yourself. Worksheet 3, Area Revision. Press pause to complete question 1 by yourself. Question 2. Calculate the area of each 2D shape below. Write down the formulas first. Let's look at C together. It's a difficult one because they are decimal fractions. The area of a rectangle is its length times its breadth. Now we must do 1, 2 times 4, 5. So we multiply as if the decimal fractions aren't there, so 12 times 45. You can do that by yourself and you'll get an answer of 540. Now, there are 2 decimal places in our question, so we must put 2 decimal places in our answer, like such, and then the answer is 5,4 meters squared. We don't need that 0. Press pause to complete question 2 by yourself. Worksheet 4. Complete question 1 by yourself. Question 2. You must study that the surface area of a cube is the sum of the area of all of its faces. Let's see what this means. Question 3. Calculate the surface area of the following cubes as shown in the example. So here we have a cube with a length of 3 meters. the area of one face, so if we look at this one face there, let me color it in for you, is equal to length squared, which in this case is 9 meters squared. But we know that a cube has got 6 identical square faces. So the surface area of the whole cube is equal to 6 times what the area of one face is. So it's 6 times length squared, because that's the area of one face. And here we have the formula. And for this example, 6 times 9 is 54 meters squared. The unit for surface area is always a unit squared. Let's do B together. Let's get out your pen to do so. The area of one face in this cube is length squared, which is going to give us 16 meters squared. Now the surface area of the cube, this formula is 6 times length squared. So we must do 6 times 16 to get its surface area. Press pause to complete this answer by yourself and do C by yourself. Question 4. Calculate the surface area of the following cubes. For A, we have a cube with a side length of 50 millimeters. The area of one face is length squared, which means 50 times 50. Now be careful here. 5 times 5 is 25, times 10 times 10. So the area of one face is 2,500 meters squared. Now we need to do 6 times the area of one face. So 6 times 2,500. 2,500 times 6. You can complete that sum by yourself and check that you get 15,000 meters squared for the surface area. Press pause to complete the rest of this page by yourself. Worksheet 5. Press pause to complete question 1. Number 2. The surface area of a rectangular prism is the sum of the areas of its faces. Question 3. Calculate the surface area of the following rectangular prisms. For A, we see that the rectangular prism has a top and a bottom face which are identical. The area is equal to its length times its width. It also has a left and a right face which are also identical, and the area of those faces are equal to the breadth times the height. Lastly, it has a back face and a front face that are also identical, and their area is equal to the length times the height. So, for the formula for the surface area of any rectangular prism, we see we have 2 of the length times the breadth, that is the top and the bottom face, plus 2 times the length times the height, that's the front and the back face, and lastly, plus 2 times the breadth and the height, and that's the left and the right face. So we need to say 2 times every single combination of the length times the breadth. So you can do it in any order. It's 2 times length times breadth plus 2 times length times height. So we've times the length by the breadth and the length by the height. And all that's left is to times the breadth by the height and times by 2. Then 2 times its length times its breadth, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 times the length times the height, 4 times 3, which is 12, and then lastly 2 times the breadth times the height, which is 2 times 6, 2 times 3, which is 6. Then 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 12 is 24, 2 times 6 is 12, and we add up to get our final answer. Get out your pen and let's do B together. The surface area, the formula, is 2 times its length times its breadth, plus 2 times the length times the height. And lastly, we still need to multiply the breadth by the height. So it's 2 times the breadth times the height. So we have 2 times the length times the breadth, which in this case is 5 times 2, so it's 10 meters squared, plus 2 times the length times the height, which is going to give us 15 meters squared. Lastly, we have 2 times the breadth times the height, which is going to give us 6 meters squared. Then you need to do these calculations, get your answers, and add up. Press pause to complete the rest of this page by yourself. Worksheet 6. Calculate the surface area of the following rectangular prisms. Now we have bigger numbers, so we have our formula as usual. Now we have 2 times 40 times 10, which is 400, plus 2 times 40 times 30, which is 1200, plus 2 times 10 times 30, which is 300. Then we double each of these as follows. Make sure of your zeros, and we add up to get our final answer. Press pause to do exactly the same for question B. Question 2. Calculate the surface area of the following rectangular prisms. For A, we see we have a decimal fraction. So you can write out your formula by yourself. Then we're going to have 2 times 4 times 1, 2, which we're going to get 4, 8. You can check that by yourself. Plus 2 times 4 times 3, which is 12. Plus 2 times 1, 2 times 3, which is 3, 6. Now the rest of the sum works as usual. We're going to say 2 times 4, 8, which is 9, 6. You can check that by yourself. Plus 24, plus the last answer is 7, 2. You can check that by yourself. Then we need to add up all our answers. So firstly we have 9, 6 plus 7, 2. We add up our tenths. 9 plus 7 is 16. Then we still need to add 24. So we have 24 plus 16, 8. Here we have 0 tenths. So we get 8. To get a final answer of 40, 8 centimeters squared. Press pause to complete question B by yourself. Worksheet 7. Use what you have learned to complete this question by yourself. If you are unsure of your formulas, turn back on your booklet to remind yourself of what they are. Worksheet 8. Use what you have learned to complete this worksheet by yourself.